Hi, everyone. So should we start our acceleration program? It's our official opening of Innobooster today. And we are happy that all of you are today selected and like very best promising startups. And we're excited really to make connections with you. And today is our brilliant mentor, Gergo Gulyas, will speak about internationalization. So if I'm already speaking, my name is Elena Malitskaya, and I'm supposed to mentor 9 startups. I sent all of you requests to book Calendly for mentorship session, and I'm waiting for you. 5 of you already did. 4 startups are expected. If you have any questions, anything you are interested, just prepare, send me in advance, or we can speak when we see each other. Now I am happy to give a floor to Gergo, and he will deliver a brilliant session. And I'm really excited that he is the first one opening this, because actually he is the leader of the program, he is the initiator, and this is his concept actually we are providing.
Oh,
so
come
Gergo,
on.
Yeah,
Come on,
please.
stop it, it's flattering. But yeah, so my name is Gergo Gulyas. Can you guys hear me well? I mean, is it okay? Cool. It's really happy to see all of you here, and everyone was so on time that this is fantastic. Usually we need to wait like 10 minutes or something. And yeah, so maybe just a few words about this project before we actually start the mentoring session. So you probably checked before you apply, but this is a joint initiative between 4 organizations. So WOV Summit is the leading organization. We also have ISC represented by Elena. We also have DEX from the Czech Republic or Czechia. And we also have Startup Campus from Hungary. So you probably know these organizations. And basically the aim, the whole initiative is supported and fully funded by the Visegrad Fund. We are super, super grateful because I strongly believe that's a very impactful project. So the aim is as you probably saw in the news, the geopolitical situation is very complex now, but I believe spent a good few years in a tech ecosystem that borders and politics do not really matter. But what matters is how we approach these things, and I really think that the V4 should collaborate, and also we should collaborate with other nations and other countries like Ukraine, for instance, in this program, because as you all know, there is a crisis there, and we really should support each other because there are a lot of challenges there, and also there's a lot of opportunities that we can overcome these challenges. So the program is more about how to support each other, how to support internationalization initiatives of different businesses. And that's the reason why we teamed up with DEX, ISC, and Startup Campus and started to think of how can we create a program that actually help these aforementioned points and support businesses. And this is the result. So we are very excited. So you applied. It was a very rigorous evaluation. Luckily, a lot of startups applied. So we selected you because we thought that your project is very relevant. And we saw that the quality is really good. So basically, you've been selected. And now we start the acceleration acceleration program itself. As you know, it's going to be a few sessions. 6 in total, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, is it 6? Yeah, cool. 6 sessions, and in between we're gonna have mentoring. So please book yourself in with your mentors. And basically, it's going to be a demo day at the end at WOV Summit. Everyone is invited. What we can provide is free tickets to the summit for your whole team. But we cannot provide is travel and accommodation support. Unfortunately, that was a tight budget. But within a V4, it's very cheap to travel. Actually, I'm going to take a night train. This is what I usually do. And I just go to Wrocław, very convenient way. So, and yeah, I encourage everyone to do so and meet in person. We're also going to have, before the pitching session, we're going to have a demo day, an internal demo day. It's a peer-to-peer kind of rehearsal pitching session. The teams usually like it very much because you can learn from each other. And of course, the mentors will give feedback so you can polish your pitch. And at WOV Summit, you will be fast-tracked to the global pitch, Great Pitch Contest, which is a great opportunity to actually receive some investment and pitch your ideas and solutions to prominent stakeholders. And that's it. I'm not too sure. Sana, would you like to introduce yourself before I jump in?
Yeah, thank you so much. Quickly. Hi, I'm Sana, and I'm a coach for tech founders. And we will have a webinar soon about pitching techniques and pitch decks and so on. I'm ready for that. And when we have this webinar, I will give you a link for mentoring sessions if you need one. So see you soon.
Brilliant. In the meantime, I'm just putting together the presentations because I'm ready to share. And let me know if you can or can't see it. Just give me one sec. Here, actually. There. Just working on dual screens.
So guys, and make it more interactive. Don't forget that there are reactions, you know, below. You can open your hand, you can ask, be like participate. Yes, don't sleep. We love when it's active.
Okay, I will be the first with questions.
Perfect. Yeah. That's why we're here.
I want to ask you about, can we introduce our product in Wolf Summit? Not only pitch, but can we go with our table and platform to Wolf Summit?
Of course, it's a very valid question. I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention at Wolf Summit, we're going to have a designated pavilion because I'm managing 2 other grants as well. So it looks like at the moment, according to the floor plan, like all of these going to be next to each other. So we're going to have a designated Innobooster pavilion. It's like a big table. Everyone who is going to be there in person, encouraged to bring no roll-ups, but rather, you know, materials, and it helps you to arrange the meetings. And so we're going to give you visibility at the summit. This is what I'm trying to say. Maybe you can bring your roll-ups as well. I'm not too sure how much space, how much space we're going to have and how many people join us in person, but it's going to be in a very visible location at the summit. So the whole Innobooster. And what we are trying to do as well, I really want to create a brochure of the companies. And basically, I want to send it out to all the investors as well.
Great. And can we stay there with table? Because I don't heard clearly. With table, we need the space about 3 meters per 1 meters. About 3.
I'm not too sure. Maybe that's another offer. We might provide something like that, but not in the framework of this program. But I can put you in touch with the events team because I'm not too sure whether, first of all, whether we have spaces and also, you know, what kind of deals that we can offer, because it's not really for me, but rather for the team. I'm more than happy to put you in touch if there is an interest. Just please write me an email with your needs, and I will forward it and CCing you to the relevant person.
Okay. And in this zone, which you recommend, we can stay with roll-up and some materials, yeah?
Yeah, it's going to be a big table for everybody. I'm not too sure how many people will join us because I know a few of you are going to come in person, but I'm not too sure how many of you will come and how many of you will bring roll-up. We cannot guarantee the roll-up, but, you know, materials for sure. So it's going to be a big table. And we're also going to have Brella, the networking app as well. So this is something that helps you to meet with everybody.
Okay, I will send you whole information by email, and after that we can arrange about possibilities.
Absolutely brilliant. So can you see my screen? It should say changes of international market entry full screen. I'm working on 2 screens, and I'm not too sure whether I'm presenting the right. So yeah, so basically, as Elena mentioned, let me start with the house rules. So please feel free to interrupt me. I mean, I'm happy if you write something in the chat, but the chances that I will not be able to see is very high because I'm presenting. So interrupt me, ask questions, comment. If you disagree, tell me, you know, because otherwise it's going to be a very boring 1.5 to 2 hour presentation, because it's not like at a university that I'm talking, and you're listening, and we're going to have an essay, but actually we can learn a lot from each other and learn from conversation. So I will actually ask you to share experiences and so on and so on. So please don't be shy, because that's very important. And let's start, I would say. So in terms of the agenda, we're going to have like a quick introduction. I'm going to introduce myself, Wolf Summit a little bit, iScale Hub, because I know it can be confusing because I'm presenting two companies, but I will explain. We're going to have a game, a little bit of introduction, and then we're going to start the session as it is. So we're going to discuss the differences between startups and SMEs, benefits and challenges of going global, how to be prepared, the strategic mindset. I cannot stress this enough. Like, strategic mindset is very important, even if it might sound like a cliche, but we're going to talk about it. Market research for internationalization, importance of partnerships, very important when you expand, when and where to expand, a few methods, market attractiveness and competitive strength assessment, and the gradual international commercialization, so the minimums of international sales. And this is it. So let's start. Before we do that, just the aims of the workshop is to give you awareness about the strategic thinking and when and where to expand internationally, guidance on how to select your target market, and we're going to share a lot of good practices on international market entry. So as you could find out from the agenda, these are the aims of the workshop. And yeah, let's start then with the intro. So I am the head of WolfX, so Wolf Summit's Innovation Department. So just a few things about Wolf Summit. So Wolf Summit originally was an event in Poland, and we are really proud because actually we are much more than that today. So we started as an event, and later during COVID, of course, we had to develop new revenue lines, and it was really handy to do kind of event management services. So this is Wolf Digital, so we could use the know-how in digital space. And since last year, we also launched a new arm. It's called Wolf's X. So this is what I'm doing, and there we are doing innovation management and acceleration programs. So say, for instance, grants like this, or bigger grants like Horizon Europe grants, or other smaller initiatives like the Polish Challenge Fund, UNDP, and so on. And I am overseeing these activities. And we also have corporate programs. Last year we did one for LG and also another one for PwC. And Wolf's X is also managing those initiatives at Wolf Summit. What else? So yeah, I think I talked about the opportunities at Wolf Summit. So in terms of the events, we have 3 events per year. So one is the summit, that's the flagship event. We also have a smaller one, which is called Alpha Wolf. It's a GPLP matchmaking. And then we have a smaller intimate gathering. It's called Emerging Wolves. It happens in Vienna this year. So again, it's a great opportunity because we are building an international network of investors and business partners, a lot of corporates, a lot of investors, not just VCs, but also LPs as well. So you're going to be on the right place to raise funding or build partnerships. I'm also co-founder of iScale Hub. So this is the organization that is actually giving you the training sessions with, it's not just me, but my colleague Tamas. He will be doing the the B2B sales prospecting workshop. And there, we actually met at Wolf Summit. We started to have a chat, and we realized that both of us are doing workshops. So why don't we do it together? And now, we started the company as an innovation management only. So we actually not working with startups, but we work with similar organizations with the summit or governments and so on and so forth. And now we also have a legal arm and an engineering arm, so we can help you with the prototyping or any legal matters that you might have. I'm a member of the board and Startup Campus VC, which is a Hungarian VC. It's a micro VC actually. You probably heard of Startup Campus if you're Hungarian, but if you're not, that's one of the biggest private accelerators in Hungary. Also co-founder of C-Lab Ventures, and that was an oncology-focused accelerator. And my subject matter expertise is international market entry, financial planning, fundraising, and corporate innovation. So the reason why I'm saying everything to you, because I just wanted to let you know that I'm not just somebody from the street, but actually I managed and designed and run more than 60 similar programs like that. I worked with more than 200 startups over the years, So I saw a lot, and my subject matter expertise is international market, and the top one is international market entry. So I really know what I'm talking about. And today we are going to talk about international market entry. So you are at the right place. And this is it. Let's start with the game. So here I do not really want to disclose the rules. I will need one volunteer. And the only thing that I can say is that, you know, this game is related to your international expansion. So can I have a volunteer? Nobody?
What volunteer should to do?
I cannot disclose. You wanna volunteer?
Okay, I can do.
Okay.
All right, sorry, who was it? Noemi or Alexandra? Because was it you or was it Noemi? Because I saw someone raise the hand.
Noemi can be.
But it was you, yeah? Sorry, because you know it's Zoom, so I can just hear it. So anyway, so you want to be a volunteer, Alexandra, right?
I can be, yeah.
All right. So basically, the task is very simple. Can you introduce your startup, your team members who are here, and just talk about your international expansion plans?
My startup, my team, yeah, and the international plans.
Yeah.
Okay. Andra Samokhina, I'm CEO and co-founder the Ukrainian and Polish startup two brands, Technotable, the healthy workstation. We create a workstation as a health assistant. And the next brand is our platform. It's the only in the whole world dynamic platform for Achilles standard and back. Our team is quite experienced. We have 4 partners, 3 in our board, and our mentor. Mentor is a doctor of medical science. He is a sport doctor. He is a vertebrologist, kinesiotherapist, and we develop and create everything about health with him. My husband is my partner on business. He is CTO in our company. Before that, he was head of R&D at aerospace company more than 15 years. Our third partner is our doctor of scientist. He is our manufacturing mentor because he is has a huge experience in manufacturing. We have a huge plans for international market because the first of all we develop the platform which nobody do it in the whole world, and now we start to cooperate with different. In Ukraine, for example, today I come for a rehabilitologist program, and tomorrow I will introduce our product for Germany fund because we want to cooperate with rehabilitologist center. I sent our sample and give feedback from United States, from United Kingdom, because United States is our focus market. And if we talk about platform and if we talk about workspace, it's United States because this market is really huge and they have some problem. It's if we talk about short plans and short introduction.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks. Actually, it was very good. And I think I met with one of your colleagues in Turkey a few years ago. And I really like what you are doing. So basically, yeah, that was it. So was it difficult to volunteer to do this?
No.
You see, so basically, but everyone was hesitating and no one wanted to volunteer, you know, it was like, oh, shall I volunteer? What is it? So on and so forth. And basically, this is what I mentioned that this is something that this is related to your international expansion. And actually, that's it. So you need to leave your comfort zone when you are international. So usually, if I do this exercise in person, I give you a chocolate or something, but now I give you a virtual handshake.
I agree. Where is my chocolate?
Yeah, I mean, evolve summit. Okay. So the thing is, guys, like
You always says like this, don't trust him. You don't.
I found him.
Anyway, so yeah, this is it. I mean, 2 things. So yeah, you need to leave your comfort zone, and you will need to be able to represent your company to complete strangers in many occasions. So I know more people fear of public speaking than actually fear of death or something like that. I can't recall the exact statistics, but it's very interesting. And, especially if you're coming from with a research heavy project, like, I don't know, something requires heavy programming or engineering or so on, or even like cancer research or whatever, it's not in your blood necessarily. But when it comes to internationalization, you really need to leave your comfort zone, and you did it very well. So thank you very much and
I
congratulations.
think the startup every time it's no in comfort zone, really.
Exactly, but especially true for internationalization, trust me, because it's like, it's like a battlefield. And let's say you are the Royal Marines. Usually you go to the enemy's territory, completely strange area, and no one even speaks the language. And you need to survive there and complete your mission. And it is a phenomenally difficult task, if you ask me. But yeah, startup world is all about leaving the comfort zone, but especially in an international environment. We will talk about it later. I just don't want to spend too much time, but well done. Thank you very much for volunteering. Cool.
Thank you
And
for
as
opportunity to introduce our project.
yeah, and as you could see, guys, I really like the sessions to be like have a kind of like a friendly and in a happy and friendly environment. So please help me to achieve this. So that was very good. You're laughing here, sharing experiences, so on and so forth. We are amongst friends here. Okay, so the next, as I mentioned, we're gonna have a quick introduction because this is the first session. I really want you guys to know each other, but please do it like within 30 seconds because otherwise you're going to spend the night here. So it was really informative, but if you could just, I don't know, we can just go by names and just say your name, your startup and team members who are there, just like the people who are there. And what do you do in like 2 sentences, and where would you like to expand? And if you have any traction, that would be appreciated. So is it doable, guys? Can we do it? Yeah, so let's see who is the first. I have someone called Adrian Toth and I think because it's a Hungarian name, maybe it's a fellow Hungarian. Brilliant.
Have you hear me?
Yeah, more or
yes.
less.
So my name is Adrian Toth. I'm co-founder. Sorry?
Yeah, more or less I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe turn off the video. So my name is Adrian Toth. I am the co-founder of Talkative Startup. This is a English speak practicing application, mobile application that is different from the Duolingo or others that we focusing only the speak practicing because it is the hardest part of the language learning. So we don't do simple grammar. Okay. So
what are your expansion plans?
And yeah, we now we want to focus on the B2B, and we will like to make arrangement with European companies because currently we have only Hungarian B2B partners.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So expansion plans in Europe. I mean, expansion plans focusing on Europe, and it's a language app. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, so the next one on my list is Daria.
Hi, I'm from 13. I'm from peer review team. We are working on our application that allow us to make at home vision field tests. The one that right now you need to go to the specialist. Our application is allow you to do this test at home. First tests are quite promising because on almost 40 people, all our tests was 100% exact as a medical device. At this point, we are thinking about Polish and German market. in the future, there are 7 major markets with vision loss, and we will focus on them.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, so Germany, Poland. Let's see. Okay, Noemi.
Hi everyone. Yeah, I was actually raising my hand when you asked for the person who can do the challenge with you or the game with you. Anyways, my startup is called Astrotectonic, and we are building a system for earthquake prediction. It's a deep tech. It's we are using various technologies over there, gathering a lot of data worldwide from various sources. Okay, team members. We are 3 co-founders, coming from research, and the third one, 2 coming from research, and the third one from business. But all in all, we are 12 people because our project is quite complex. So we have hardware, software, AI.
And what about your expansion plans?
Yes, we plan to expand. Like we have a strategy for expansion, as we are coming from Poland, right? It's a Polish company, and in Poland you do not have earthquakes. So we expand first to Italy and Greece, and then like Europe in general, and then to USA. However, I already can see that the plans of that strategy already changes because we got the first lead in Mexico.
Yeah, we will see, because that's what the session is about. So cool. Thank you. Yeah, Judith.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Well, actually, I'm from the same company as Adrian.
Easy. Cool. Thank you very much. All right.
No worries.
I'm not sure if I can pronunciate the next participant's name. That Verena. It's Verena. Sorry if there's a mistake.
Hey, Jan is here. Hello.
Hey, Jan.
Nice to meet you all. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. Then just quickly, our startup is called Greenometer, and we basically consider ourselves as one-stop shop for all things sustainable. So regardless if you want to do a carbon footprint of your company, of your product, or any ESG methodology that is currently on the table, we are the place to go to. It's a B2B platform, and we want to expand within CEE, probably Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Bulgaria, and the DACH countries. The motivations behind the expansions are partially, of course, let's say the business side in the German-speaking market and in the CE countries. It's also driven by a strong partnership with one of the banks that has branches there.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Lucia's iPhone. So that is Lucia. If you are with us.
Hello.
Yeah. Hey, can you
hear me?
us? Yeah.
Okay, I'm Lucia Karasova from Slovakia, and our company is called eRobot, and it is ecological solution, and our system is called an automatic self-maintenance control system, and it is based on our filtration system. We would like to put and integrate inside of the robot construction. Yeah, our plan is to finish this solution till the end of this year, and to also finalize our live tests. And we would like to scale up our business around Europe, and then we will see what will be next steps.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
And I have Lukas Nordics IO.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Lukas from Startup Nordics, and what we do, we build like B2B matchmaking platform, where on the one side we have a project request from different clients for software development, and on the other side we are matching according to the expertise with the right development teams and software houses from whole Europe. the goal is to be on the vendor side, to be in the Central and Eastern Europe, and on the client side to be visible in the Scandinavia and the region as Switzerland, Germany, and Austria. So this is the next goal for us, to be #1 platform in this area.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry if I do not give like a proper feedback or something. I'm just really conscious of time because I see that we have more teams because we opened it up for the ones, I mean, not only for the selected ones, but the ones who were interested to participate, just to maximize the impact. But yeah, it's really cool. And I think we don't have many startups left. Yeah, sorry, actually we have. So we have Ruslana, but I know Ruslana is from the same company, Technovator, or
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Actually, my name is Ruslana. I'm CEO and co-founder of Technovator. We are company registered actually in Poland, and I have two citizenship, Polish and Ukrainian. We are a deep tech project. We can charge different devices with really high efficiency at a distance without cables. So it's absolutely new method of energy transfer based on energy quantization, a principle first put forward by Max Planck in 1901. And actually, Max Planck postulated that energy was quantized and could be emitted or absorbed by small unit of energy known as quantum.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually mastered such a principle. Sorry.
By the way, I just wanted to mention, Alexandra, I met with Ruslana. Just the names were really confusing because it's very similar in Turkey, so not with one of your colleagues.
And actually, I would like to tell you that we have a global market for our technology, as we can bring our technology to the different market segments: consumer electronics, health tech, robotics, transportation. So we can charge, let's say, even active implantable devices in human body. If you know,
Wow.
they use batteries and people need to go through the repeated surgeries every 5 to 7 years. And we can solve such a problem. And also they can do such real-time diagnostic, full scale diagnostic actually only once per 6 months. And with our technology, they will have the access to do it unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
And we are the team of 3 inventors, 4 founders, and we know each other more than 20 years. We have strong business, technical, and science expertise. It's a little bit short story about us.
Yeah, I really like your product. Sorry, it was just a confusion because of the names and it was like very similar. Yeah, we met in Turkey and I really like what you do because if I just look around, I see like tons of cables on my table and I don't really like it. So I like the fact how you can solve this challenge. Okay, so the next one on my list is Thomas.
Yes, hi.
Yeah.
Yes, hi. My name is Tomasz Jankowski. I'm from GoToMarket.eu. I'm a founder. We basically dealing with Amazon. We help brands and manufacturers to sell and expand their products worldwide using Amazon. And we're building an app to help both brands and ourselves in reporting, like deep big data reporting on Amazon and trying to get most of the data is based on Amazon API and AWS. Well, I'm based in Poland. We are a team of 23 at the moment. We serve some customers from US and Canada, and that's where we want to probably expand on in coming months and years. Apart from the US, for those businesses based there, you know, for America, want to go south from Poland, yes, so Czechoslovakia, Hungary, those are the places that we want to, those markets we want to get into in coming months and years.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And I know Vitaly is from the same team, eRobot, right? If I'm not mistaken. I don't really have Vitaly, I guess, but I know that they are from the same team. So just to be mindful of time, maybe we can jump to Jan, Bird from Space. Maybe you can say a few words. And then the last one, I need some help from my Ukrainian colleagues.
I apologize. My name is Dmitro Rogozinsky. I'm representative of company 3D Quanta. We are a company who develops constructional 3D printers. We focus on building like homes from with these printers, and maybe sometimes difficult constructions which are difficult to build by standard strategies by hands, and we make them much cheaper. And currently we concentrate on the European markets, and especially on the UK, because we are currently located there.
Brilliant, brilliant. So I think we have Jan left from Bird from Space, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Is it right?
Yeah. Hello. My name is Jan. I'm CEO of World from Space. We are a 5-year-old company from the Czech Republic. We help companies to integrate satellite monitoring into their products, mostly in agriculture. We have currently big customers in the Czech Republic and small customers on 4 continents. And our expansion plans are mostly focused on CEE and Balkan countries, Romania, Bulgaria, and Croatia at the moment.
Brilliant. I'm just going to Croatia tomorrow. So if I see something, I will let you. Cool.
Yes,
all right.
if you say something.
Did I miss anybody? Maybe the last person here. Or are you from the same company, I guess?
Maybe me. My name is Tomáš Kulhánek. Our company is called Creative Connections, but our startup is eGolem. We are from Prague, and we make a digital human simulator. It means that we are doing a medical simulator of complex human physiology, which should help students of medicine and healthcare staff to understand complex problems and improve the learning of quite complex, not only knowledge, but skills and competencies in healthcare. This is our startup. We have now piloted the first faculty of medicine in Prague, and we would like to expand also to Czech, Slovak Republic, and European Union and attached countries.
Brilliant. Thank you. And anyone else? I think I had everybody, right? I tried to keep track of it, but it's very difficult to do it on Zoom. Usually it's better when we do it in person, but I think I had. But in case not, just please, jump in. But yeah, I mean, if no one else, then I just wanted to say, like, I'm really happy that we have such a diverse group, and we already heard a few things about like internationalization, like Europe, DACH region, US, Mexico, in the meantime, Europe. So it's pretty complex. I mean, the answers are pretty complex, I would say. And I think, that workshop will help you to define what is the best strategy for you, because you need to have a strategic and data-driven market selection. And yes, it's very interesting. And let's dive deep into it quickly. All right, so let's start with actually just the difference. Like, what is the difference between a startup and an SME? So what do you guys think? So what if I ask, like, how about a hotel that serves its customers via an online booking system? Is this a startup? What do you think?
No, hotel is not, because it's linear expansion. So if you need more guests, you need more rooms, more applicants, more people. So it's not expands dynamically, only in a linear way.
So the growth potential, it's the
I think that it depends on hotel. It can be some new idea for hotel, and it can be startup.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, I mean, Tesla in that sense is a kind of linear as well. It was a startup, you know. But yeah, the growth potential is very given and very limited. But yeah, I mean, so Alexander, you mentioned something like what type of hotels? So it's like, it has to be innovative in that way or something unique that it needs to provide to become a startup? This is how you meant it?
I think that it can be, for example, some model of unique of hotel. Yeah, it can, which can you applicate for another, multiplicate this model, not one building as hotel. Yeah, and if for example you create something interesting, you can use it for franchise, or you can build some, or you can rent as R&B, R&B or something else. It can be some business model new.
Business model, okay. And what about a takeaway restaurant? So let's use this example. So let's say it's a vegan restaurant in, I don't know, in Wrocław, where, you know, in like 10 years ago when there were no such things as vegan restaurants. So using a bicycle-based delivery system and a very user-friendly ordering platform. So is it a startup or is it not a startup? It's just, you know, small business, could be more scalable than a hotel. So what is it? Is it a startup or is it not a startup? What do you guys think? Or a taxi firm using electric cars only? Is it startup or not?
It is unicality. There's something special that attracts, but it's not a startup. In my opinion, startup is something that provides a technology, for example, which is developed and like something new.
Yeah,
in that
so,
way.
Exactly. So what if I just reverse this question and I ask, like, what makes a startup a startup? So uniqueness, growth, what else?
Lack of investment. So every time.
Investment, comfort zone, we heard that as well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you pretty much mentioned a few important things. And so we agree on that, like this hotel, takeaway restaurant, and taxi firm, these are not startups, right? But what if I say Booking, Deliveroo, Uber? They're pretty similar, right? So it's actually not a hotel, but a hotel booking system. There's not really a restaurant, but there's a system around it. Or Uber, you know, or Bolt. So what makes them startups? So what do you think?
Technology and innovations.
Technology, innovation, yeah.
A new area which is being this is a new service. I mean, it wasn't it was not in use before. When we developed when appeared the COVID restrictions, we had a problem which needed a solution. The solution was, for example, a delivery of food. Like that.
Yeah, so it's a lot of things. So new market, new needs. Someone mentioned business model earlier. So yeah, I mean, a lot of things make a startup a startup, and there are countless definitions. My favorite one is like, a startup is an innovative enterprise, product, service, or business model. So these are the things that are innovative, which has a global market potential, because, you know, this is what pretty much you said as well. And in terms of like your assumption on the market, you know, I will get there as well, but let's just examine the first two bits. So the innovativeness and the global market potential. So when it comes to innovative enterprise, you know, it's like what gives the innovativeness? It's the unique technology, so product or service. So Google, right, is a service innovation. It was like it wasn't there before, or product, Tesla, or some other things, or in Ruslana's case, say for instance, the technology, is the devices. I saw that you implemented in tables as well, and so on. So it's really interesting. Forward-thinking solutions like Second Earth, Metaverse. Yeah, so it's like how related to the markets, the new market and the new need that you mentioned before. A special business model. So, the business model is very, very important, and you mentioned it as well, because actually, if we examine Revolut, so what happened here? So, there were banks before, there were currency exchanges before, there were insurance companies before, but the way how they put this together and created the business model around it, that gives the uniqueness as well. And usually it's the combination of the unique technology or product or service and the business model. Very powerful. Business model, I mean, I have another session about it. It's very, very powerful thing. So if you are coming from a tech-heavy sector, there are books and sessions about it. And I really strongly advise everyone to look into the subject, because say for instance, even like simple things in our lives like Gillette, yeah, they came up with a very innovative solution. There were razors before, right? But they came out with a kind of business model that actually locks in the user. So I'm not too sure about the women, but I'm a man and I'm using Gillette, and you can see in the shops of the grocery store, Gillette Max 3, Max 5, Max 6, whatever. And what they do, they sold me a razor, and I thought it's going to be a very good razor. And it was, it's a decent one, but it's not the best. But I cannot really change it because they actually, that head of the razor is only compatible with the main part, I don't know how we call it, that stick.
The handle.
The handler part or whatever, and I cannot change my razor. So it was the combination of both. They came up with a cutting-edge, innovative razor head, and I cannot change it now because otherwise it will not be compatible. So, and I don't want to waste money as a consumer. So that's a very powerful thing. All right, so let's look at further. So actually, if we check, disruptive businesses and innovative enterprises, they have a capability of revolutionizing how we do everyday things. And this is what you exactly mentioned. So say, for instance, here, Airbnb, yeah, they revolutionize how we book now. So it's not like before, it was like a valid market need, and they came up with a solution and completely revolutionized the industry. And later, hotels.com, Kayak, Trivago, whatever, started to appear. Facebook, yeah. So again, thanks to their innovativeness, they revolutionized. Yeah, Thomas, you're about to say something? Sorry. Okay. All right. So basically, they revolutionized how we connect. Yeah. So they tested the growth hypothesis, the value hypothesis together, and it was a big success. So, they instantly revolutionized how we connect. And another one is like Netflix. When I was a kid, we had to go to the shop that was at the end of our street, and I had to wait until someone returns the tape. And there was like queues and lists. You had to sign up to rent out the particular videotape or DVD and so on. And now, they revolutionized how we watch, because there was a market demand for live streaming services, and they created a complete, it's called Blue Ocean, by the way, market for themselves, live streaming service. And the other one is the global market potential. So here, I don't want to spend too much time because you mentioned linear growth and exponential growth and so on and so forth. But actually, there's a very good book about it from Paul Graham. And that the guy says like your main task as a startup is to grow. And actually, that's what the investors are looking for. As you mentioned, startups are fundraising all the time. This is what you should signal to the investors as well. All right, so let's move forward. So what is the key takeaway here? So the real innovation that serves a significant market demand can disrupt whole industries. However, when it comes to the globalization, internationalization, global consumers often do not see the need. So say, for instance, in the case of Steve Jobs, even big players like Nokia, they didn't really believe in the touchscreen phone. And a lot of customers, I didn't want to have a touchscreen phone either when it was introduced. So sometimes you need to convince it. However, look, it managed to disrupt the whole phone industry. And verifying the growth hypothesis in an international environment is very, very difficult. So that's the challenge. But yeah, just as a pro tip from Netflix, don't give up on your dreams. We started with DVDs. So again, it's like a lot of discipline, leaving your comfort zone, educating yourself and so on, and you will get there. Okay, but how is related to the internationalization and to this workshop? So basically, if you have a startup that's serving a valid market need and have like a potential to disturb industries because the technology is so unique and so needed, then for you internationalization is a must. You cannot just think locally, because instantly you should know from the beginning that I'm building something for which there's a global market need. So this is one we need to understand, and this is why we should focus more on the internationalization. Okay, so any questions here?
So may I assume that
Sure.
The real startup is if we're talking about film industry, this is the red ocean. If we make a startup, it transforms the direct flow of red ocean into a blue part, which is absolutely free and may destroy the previous idea. Yes.
Yeah, you don't need to destroy because you don't hear the previous one.
It may.
Yeah, it may. Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's a good one. So film industry, I'm going to Croatia tomorrow, meeting with a friend of mine. They are working on like, I'm not sure whether I can disclose the names, but they're working with really famous directors and producers. And actually the film industry will be revolutionized in the technology of AR, VR. So this is not, the classic, 3D movies and, the movie theaters, how they are now, they're going to be very much different in the next 15 years. But yeah, it's a very good point. And yeah, of course, there might be less traditional movie theaters as a result, because you're building something that serves a new market need. All right, any other questions? Because I have one. So I think I got it already. Who wants to go international? And we covered the target market, but maybe anyone wants to add something to the previous comments based on what we just discussed. If not, let me tell you a story, because the reason why I bring this up again and again, because my experience is usually if I ask a startup like when, where, and how you want to do your expansion, they cannot really answer these questions with confidence. And I keep asking, can you guys answer? And probably you're going to tell me, you already told me a few things like, okay, we want to go here, we want to go there. We have a lead from, I don't know, from this country, but there's other potential there. Plus my founders live in that country. When what I often notice here is like the whole internationalization process is very impulse driven. So teams come to our event at Wolf Summit, and maybe from Hungary or from Ukraine, and they shake hands with a promising Polish, I don't know, company, and when they come home, they're gonna say, oh, Wolf Summit was brilliant. We met with this Polish corporate. They have money. They want us, so we need to focus on Poland now. And I go to Slush, like in, I don't know, a month later or 6 months later, I can't remember the exact dates, and they come home and they say like, oh, we need to focus on Finland because I met an investor there and they really want to give us money if we achieve local traction. And then they go to China or the US and they have the same impulse-driven kind of conversation with their founders. And actually, it's pretty difficult for many startups to decide and answer these questions with confidence. That's the reason why we are focusing we are focusing on internationalization in this section and in this accelerator program, because it shouldn't be impulse driven. Anyone has a question or a comment? Yeah?
Yeah, I wanted to say, and how to understand whether your direction is correct, and if it is not, how to understand that now you can change the direction. For example, you cannot work anymore with this investor. You have to change, or you have to stick to him. How to understand this?
We're talking about the investors now, or
no? You were talking about the problem
market
of that.
selection.
Yeah, yes. For example, now we work with Poland, then we work with Finland.
Oh, well, this, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but this is what we are going to discuss in length on this session. So we are getting there slowly but surely.
Okay.
Cool. But that's a good question. So a lot of things can determine. But first of all, I mean, you know what? I don't spoil it. We will get there and you will understand. If you still, the question is remain unanswered, just let me know and I can expand on it. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, this is really hard because you don't know where to focus, you know, how to gather data and so on. And that result in a quite impulse-driven market selection and market entry process. And basically, what is internationalization? So the strategic process through which a business or organization expands its operations, products, or service beyond its domestic borders and domestic boundaries. Here, I would like to highlight is like two things. So operations. So it's not just selling, it's operation. Maybe you're gonna open up a branch just to do a certain task in a given country, or product and services, so the actual selling. So it's not the same thing. And that is important. And what do you think? Why should you guys expand internationally? What are the benefits of international expansion? What do you think? If you need to name a few.
The amount of possibilities, the amount of possible directions, which we were talking about, because if we are stuck in the market, which has absolutely different from perspectives, which is, for example, like our Ukrainian market, currently we are a bit more focused on the war, on the military sphere, and you cannot develop this our, for example, 3D construction. If you change the market, if you go international, you can find more possibilities and become much more effective. This is the main priority of internationalization.
Risk mitigation is pretty much what you mentioned. What else? Alexander, you are very quiet. Noemi, I haven't heard you for, I remember on the session, on the initial session, you were very active. So maybe you have something to share, and the others as well, feel free.
I think that going to the international market is the only one way for the startup, because the first it's can help you to grow up your profit, your revenue. The next, the different market, the different customer can help you to develop your product as a better way, because they can use it for the different needs. And because of that, the international market is maybe the only way for each startup.
All right, so it was access to new skills and standards, more or less. I see Noemi is active now as well. What's up?
I wanted to add that the international market gives you an access to more new talents, actually more talents.
Yeah.
So partnerships, for example, our company is based on partnerships very heavily. So this is something that we do as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think about the diversity, which is, in my opinion, a crucial part of growing a healthy company.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of things. Any other suggestions? Don't be shy. All right.
I would say that it's good for if you are going against some competitors. It's good to go abroad and to be on these markets and to be like stronger player when they would like to extend to different places. So it's important in this battle with the competitors.
Yeah, I mean, it increases competitiveness. But actually, yeah, you pretty much summed it up. There are a lot of benefits, first of all, and I would like to highlight some similar ones that you mentioned. So first of all, I'm surprised because no one mentioned increased sales, and we are from Eastern Europe, more or less. And usually people want to go to the UK and US because there is like an opportunity to boost revenues. So that's usually the first one. If I do anything in the region, the teams usually said, I want to increase sales and boost revenue. But yeah, so yeah, it can. So let me start with that one. So of course, if you go to a Western country where people have companies and more like disposable income or a higher income, you know, they can pay for your services, or actually maybe if you are going abroad from a small country like Hungary or Slovakia, you know, to another one, which is like, I don't know, Germany, say, for instance, of course, you know, you have more customers instantly. Paradoxically, you can use internationalization to cut costs, especially that's the reason why I highlighted the operations. It's not just about selling, but you know, sometimes just bring your operations to a given country to cut costs. You know, many companies do it. Exactly, the companies from Western countries bring their research centers and manufacturing plants to Eastern Europe, and then they do the manufacturing here, or you know, or even they bring it even further to China, India, and so on and so forth. So you can use internationalization to cut costs as well. Manage risks, very, very important. We saw in the recent years, unfortunately, COVID, Russian invasion, what else? Monkeypox, a lot of things like earthquakes, microchips shortage, a lot of things, very, very important. And say, for instance, there was a Mexican company, because someone mentioned the Mexican lead. So this is what Cemex, it was a cement manufacturer. This is what they did. They had, of course, you know, they're a Spanish-speaking country. So they brought part of the operation to Spain and to the US, and they actually kept their savings on the US and Euro bank accounts. And then when the Mexican, there was a crisis in Mexico and the Mexican peso dropped, so they could easily buy out their competitors, and now they're one of the biggest cement manufacturers. So they manage the risks, but it's also, you know, true for war and any, you know, natural catastrophes and so on and so forth. It's better if you keep your bags in different baskets. You can learn a lot of new things and improve standards. You mentioned that as well. Of course, you know, you're competing on an international level. You need to keep up with the competition, which is fierce and much more stronger on international standards. You're going to have access to global talents, very important. And this is what you need as a small team. The more diverse your team is, the better, because you're going to have market intel to different markets. So at Wolf Summit, everyone is working from different locations. I mean, we have a Polish team, of course. I'm from Hungary, but I'm also a British citizen, so I'm usually in between. We have Olga, who sent out the emails. You probably met her as well. She's managing the project as well. And, you know, she is from Ukraine, working from Austria. And actually, for us, it's very important, because when we do an event in Austria, we're going to know exactly a lot of things about it. And this is what you need as well as a small startup, you know, have an interconnected team. So you're going to have a lot of intel, a lot of talent. Building a globally recognized brand, I don't want to waste too much time on it. Of course, you know, if you're going global, at the same time, you're building a globally recognizable brand as well. And of course, fundraising, especially, you know, many of you are working on very research heavy and science heavy solutions. And there, you're going to reach that point when the local ecosystem, the local VC ecosystem will not be able to fund your business growth. And then you need to approach, I mean, after Series B, I doubt even in Poland, whether we can, you know, you're going to find any reliable investors who can lead. I mean, I'm not talking about like providing the full amount, but to at least lead the round. So yeah, fundraising, very, very important. All right, so we discussed the positive side, but what about the negative because we're gonna have a few negative slides. I need to warn you. Like one time, one startup said, like, can you talk more about the positive? But I need to talk about the negatives as well. So what are the key challenges? Can you guys name a few challenges associated with international exposure?
Regulation problems, jurisdictional challenges. Maybe the problems with the that you said. Well, you need someone in Austria to better understand the market. Like the problem of different markets, that they may have something which is not that understandable for Eastern Europe, for example, for us.
Exactly. So yeah, so you mentioned jurisdiction, business related stuff. Even you can think vaguely, like simple things. I don't know. Do you guys want to name a few? Well, let me just move forward because
I can share my thing. I think that we meet with different challenges. The first way is the price of marketing. For example, we are going to some new market, US, for example, yeah, and we plan some budget for this marketing, but unfortunately or fortunately, it is not the cost of marketing. It can be bigger or less. The first. The next one, the way for marketing. For example, now I check the different possibilities, and I know that a new social media for us, a new social media, Reddit, yeah, and it is an interesting channel for marketing and for advertisement for the US market. And another way, what the key challenges is that people, when we do the prototype, they tell, and we send the prototype, and they send, yeah, it's a great, perfect. If you put this button or this, it will be the best way. We do it, and nothing happened. And we should to understand how we can solve this, how we can work with this, how we can achieve a lot of customers, yeah, and we really deepen the ocean with shark and with different others animals, and we need to surf in this.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a lot of things. So market specific needs, channels, communication.
Certification, because before of sometimes you do, customers tell that you don't need anything, and when your product is ready, they go, oh, you don't have FDA. Oh, what the fuck? And you think, yeah, really, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm glad that, I mean, that's very good, like sharing personal things so people can learn. That's the point of the program, is like, I really like when it's peer-to-peer, so you don't need to make the same mistakes like what other did. So that's good. And yeah, I mean, just to move on, I mean, this is really valuable that you said. And pretty much, I collected a few here, and if I want to narrow it down, these are the three main categories. So first of all is risk, yeah? So it divides the resources. So going international is not just like, I don't know, we're going to do some sales and that's it. You need to think about it, like how much money will it cost? Who will be the person who is going to be in charge, yeah? Difficult to consider market specific. I even highlighted this, yeah, before we actually met. I knew that that's going to be one of them. You don't know, and people communicate to you different things. Do you really need to adopt? You need to make the decision. Disadvantage compared to local competitors. I think Lucas mentioned that as well. Like competition is important, but here when you are competing on an international level, so you have a 2 or 3 target markets, especially if you're coming from Eastern Europe and going to Western Europe or the USA, if these guys have money in their pocket because they just secured funding, it's instant disadvantage, not to mention the industry connections and so on and so forth. So that's difficult. Requires local presence, so necessary to have trusting relationship with partners, and the good relationship building is continuous. So it's, I mentioned to you the example, like you went to World Summit, shake hands, but what next? You need to follow up on this. You need to build a relationship. You need to go there. You might need to you need to set up a company, or if it's a fundraising, you need to solve the legal questions and so on and so forth. Not all tasks can be managed from a distance. Very, very important. Usually people say, oh, the UK market entry is going to be very easy. I'm just going to hire a salesperson. But how are you going to delegate stuff to this particular person if you don't even know the market specific needs or market demands or market dynamics or conditions? And last but not least is expensive, especially if your country of choice is more expensive than your one. So you need to hire somebody. You need to consider the budget requirements for that. Sales cycle, it can be a cultural thing, like 2-3 times longer. We are dealing now with a Taiwanese company, and they still didn't make. I mean, I know that we're going to sign a contract, but due to cultural differences and so on, it takes longer to do the sales. Unexpected costs, anything legal. You didn't do this. You need this approval. You need the office, whatever, to open a bank account. You need to have some budget for unexpected costs as well. So it's not that easy, but still, I mean, if you ask me what is the biggest challenge? Usually the reason why foreign markets entries fail because the companies do not prepare sufficiently. And the biggest risk is the founder. Yeah. So usually the people who decide just, okay, we're going to go international like that. And then what? So that's the reason why 7 out of 10 companies fail to do their internationalization process properly. And I'm betting you like 9 out of 10 is because of the founder. And here I have this very fancy graph here. It's called the Dunning-Kruger thought process. So you can see it's like, if you haven't tried the given task before, you might be very confident without having any competence. So, but as you move forward, you're going to gain some competence and you gain your competence back. But until then, it's a very, very bumpy ride. So it's the same thing, like, please accept my apology, but I'm going to use a very obscene example. So it's like losing your virginity, right? So you think that you know everything about it. You read it in the newspapers, your sister, friends, I mean, I had a much older sister, and I gathered market intel from the girls when I was a kid. Like, okay, so what is sex and what is not? And I thought I'm very confident and competent, I don't know, guy when I was young. And of course, it was like even the first kiss was a big challenge. It's not something like, or playing tennis is a similar thing. And when I saw people playing tennis, I thought, okay, it's going to be very easy. I'm going to be the next Roger Federer. What's so difficult about it? And when I tried tennis, it was very difficult. So I had to practice a lot and then. And this is how it is in the world of business as well. You need to be prepared. And yeah, because otherwise it's going to be a very, very bumpy ride. And please excuse my French and sorry about the example, but at least you're going to remember what I'm talking about here. Okay, and on the top of that,
I think it is very relevant example for this.
Yeah, I mean,
we can think about something except startups, right? Some kind of another trainings.
Not from the Visegrad Fund, though, but I'm sure they would be happy. But exactly. So 70%, I mean, mentioned the 70% in another example, but still, 70% scale prematurely along some dimension. And I really want you guys to belong to the top 30. So the ones who are going to make it. That's the reason why I'm giving you these examples. And sorry if it's a little bit negative sometimes, and you need to realize that maybe, I am the one who's responsible. But, this is what it is. And under premature scaling, I mean, team, say, for instance, they start to hire actually people for unnecessary roles like COO for a team of 5 or 10. Is it necessary? No. Or, start to focus on like, the dimension here is the business model. So they try to focus on profit maximization without creating any value. So you should focus on the value creation, especially in an international environment, because the needs might be a bit different. Or, you know, instead of focusing your customer acquisition costs, you should really focus on the problem solution fit in an international environment. So again, premature scaling on some dimension. You're gonna find the report and you will see what I'm talking about. And in contrast, in the case of born global businesses, we discussed at the beginning, researching international potential growth opportunities should be a task from the beginning. And usually, especially from science-heavy industries, people tend to say, well, you know, I'm not thinking of internationalization yet because the product is not finished. But you know that your market is not going to be your target market because you're aiming to be a global business. So how on earth can you do the product development without any research on your target customers and target market? So don't leave this for the very last moment. And I have an example I must share again, because you're gonna remember. Do you guys know Eric the Eel? Anyone? Eric the Eel?
What?
Eric the Eel, the guy
No.
here?
No.
Nobody, even the Hungarians?
Yes, I know him.
All right, usually the people from Hungary or from the UK know this person. So Eric the Eel, yeah? So Eric, as you can see on the right, he was like a top swimmer. You can see like proper long arms, good body, you know, wearing Speedo and goggles and everything. And you would think that guy is like a pro swimmer because he looks like a pro swimmer. Actually, he was a good swimmer in his home country. But what happened? So somehow they delegated him to the Olympics to compete on, you know, an international standards against, you know, every other nation. And yes, he was a very good swimmer according to their standards. And Eric did his very best. So he swam into in lakes, in rivers, even in like hotel swimming pools. They allowed him to do the training until the guests are sleeping. So he woke up every morning, 3 o'clock, whatever, did his training. But when he arrived to the Olympics, he was shocked because that was the first time when he actually saw a swimming pool that actually matches with the Olympic standards. Yeah, so it was the length and everything. It was on the Olympics. And basically, Eric tried to finish his part, but actually he couldn't do it because he was so overwhelmed with the whole task that, I mean, he finished, but actually if you check it on YouTube, everyone was laughing at the end because, you know, it was probably the slowest in the Olympic history. So what is the message here? So Eric was thought to be a very good swimmer according to the local standards, but actually when he competed on the international level, he failed. So this is a proper example. This is what I saw many times, you know, during my career with startups. Like people think that we can be better, you know, faster, cheaper compared to our US clients or the UK clients or whatever, because you know, this is what they usually say, but is it enough? You know, have you ever competed on an international according to the international standards and, you know, try to win over the competition? Yeah, so things to consider. But so what can we do about it? So it's 3 tips for you just to do it right. So if you are not coming from a business background, start to think like a businessman. So strategic thinking and focus on value creation, very important. In an international environment, even if the culture is similar to your home countries, try to test the value hypothesis, whether your product or service actually creates value to the target market. Get surrounded with good people, so make sure the business skills are represented and make sure at least someone somehow got involved in internationalization. And also get your financials right. So this is, again, a very common pitfall. They didn't do, I mean, the startups don't do the revenue lines and the forecasting properly, and basically they didn't have enough money. And trust me, it was there. Here, the search engine is expensive. Usually this is something that somehow the budgets are not constructed in a proper manner, and they will not have enough money to maintain the required required international presence. All right, so, and again, the key here is the strategic thinking. I think we more or less cover strategic thinking, but I just really want to say a few words about it. So what do you guys think? What is strategic thinking here? So what is strategy, if I ask? How would you define strategy? Nobody?
I can, but I hope someone else.
All right, so let's do it. So someone who is not you or Alexandra, because you are the most active and I'm really happy, but I want others to participate as well. Come on, guys, don't do that. Somebody.
You have a plan.
Plan?
If you have a plan, yeah.
Is there anything else? Any other comments? Any ideas? What is strategy? Guys, how are you going to manage the internationalization if you don't want to leave your comfort zone? I'm fairly sure that you are capable to add a few things.
There have to be an aim at the end of it. Yeah, if you're thinking strategic,
Aims.
you have an aim in mind, which you want to achieve, and basically it's the way of achieving the goal or that aim at the very end of the route.
Thomas, you actually, perfectly nailed it. That's strategy according to my definition as well. So you can find a lot of definition of strategy, and you don't see, but here I have all of books about business and strategy, but that's my favorite definition. So pretty much this is it. So the art of defining a long-term flexible plan to reach our goals, so the aim, by continuously examining and accommodate to a changing internal and external environment. So things here, long-term, thoughtful, and flexible responsibilities to changes. So when it comes to international strategy, and if an investor or a partner asks you, what is your international strategy? You should signal that it's something which is, I have some goals. I know what I want to achieve. I know the journey. So that's my strategy. But also you need to be prepared to do some changes and amendments because the internal and external circumstances can change rapidly. So it's flexible. Nothing should be set in stone and you will not change because you wrote it down and you discussed with your team, because things can just be so already in the past 3 years. Like, life is not really easy, and every year we have something that's just saying, like exactly how Alexander mentioned, what the fuck, what else? And who knows? So yeah, so basically just some misconceptions. So when they ask you, what is your international strategy? I'm going to open an office. It's not a strategy, it's just a part of the plan. Spending on expansion, it's not a strategy, it's a tool. Increase your spending. Increasing the revenue, it's like rather a dream, but it's not really a strategy. You of course, the strategy can actually help you to increase your revenue, but don't mix it. Hiring a salesperson, I will use this example a few times because this is what I usually get. What's your international strategy? I'm gonna hire somebody and I'm gonna use Google Ads. Doesn't really work. So strategy, yeah, long-term, thoughtful, responsive to changes. Okay, so here, do you guys know what is SMART framework? I think everyone should know. So basically, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So when you set your goals, use this framework. I really recommend this to everybody because it can save a lot of time and helps your team to keep on track. All right. I don't want to waste too much time on this, so I would rather jump on like understanding the market part because we don't really have much time. Do you guys have any question until now? Any comments? We discussed strategic thinking, we discussed challenges, and so on and so forth. Maybe you have anything to add or anything to share. All right, if not, then it's easy. I think we discussed a lot of things together, so I'm happy. So let's move on. So understanding the market here. So I think we mentioned how important it is to have a good understanding and good market intel, because it's like exactly like the Royal Marines when they fighting in enemy territories. You need to have a good market intel. You need to know where the base is, I don't know, the equipment, whatever. If you are a Royal Marine and you need to complete a few objectives. And basically it's the same here in business. You really need to understand what is going on. And here, of course, it starts with a good market research. And I cannot stress this enough, because when I ask startups, like, can you like explain to me your market? And they're just using figures and whatever, we are addressing 2% of this. It's rather an industry, not a proper market research focusing on geography. And they're really confused here. And the other thing is, like, they usually buy the market researches done by market research companies. But I don't think that's a good approach, because for me, a good market research, and I did a few, because we did, I forgot to mention, but I used to manage the London office of Startup Campus, where my job was to help companies to come to the UK. A few of them got investments, so on and so forth. I helped them with networks. I'm still working for the Hungarian British Business Association as a person who is in charge of the startup initiatives. And basically the problem, I mean, how I usually started is to, let's do a market research together. And it is very important to build your market research around yourself. So you know exactly, okay, this is who I am, my company is, this is what we want to achieve, and let's do the market research and the external analysis in a way which puts me in the middle, because this is how you gather important and relevant information. And the market research doesn't need to be 72 pages long, listing organizations, whatever, but it should be rather like, I don't know, 5 to 6 pages, no more, and focusing on your specific needs. So once you actually identify the few potential markets for you, this is the first step that you should carry out. So here, internal analysis, motivations, goals, capabilities, you know, SWOT analysis, we're going to talk about it a little bit later. Why do you want to go international? What do you want to achieve? Also analyze your products and services, adaptability, development, you know, what is missing, what is there, what can I use, value propositions, channels that you're using for communicating the value propositions, the message, competitive advantage, and a long-term sustainable advantage over your competitors, policies, way of workings, important, team core competencies, who is going to do what in the international expansion process. Available skills and resources, financial resources, and of course the micro or task environment. So here there are tools like Porter's 5 Forces. If you want, you can Google it, but basically here the micro environment or task environment means the environment that actually somehow could be influenced by you. So partners, suppliers, customers, even your competitors to some degree. So you start with this, and then when you have the market selected, in light of this internal analysis, you start the internal analysis. So market conditions, cultures, trends, country-specific momentums, trade agreements between the countries, sector analysis, technological breakthroughs, political environment. So the past analysis here, we're going to discuss it. So it's a macro environment. So an environment which, you know, you need to accept, but we cannot really influence. So we will get there soon. So business administration, the current economic landscape, so on and so forth. So this is the second step. And as a part of the market research, there should be a section for competitive analysis. And here, you know, I really encourage you to start with the market and customer analysis. So trends, current trends in the market, target groups, so on and so forth, and identify not only the direct competitors, but also the indirect and substitute products, because you can have a lot of market intel. And maybe the reason why there's no competition in your home and in your selected target market, because there's no need for such service, because the current alternatives can serve that purpose significantly. Industry benchmarks and so on and so forth. So here, business analysis against your competitors. So you check a lot of things. I don't want to go into detail here, like pricing, features, whatever. What I really would like to suggest is like try to think outside of the box. Again, like check Amazon reviews, check, if you're competing against another startup, type it on YouTube, try to find their pitch deck. Yeah, maybe they pitched it recently at some conferences or some other programs or whatever, and you're gonna gather a lot of information. They're gonna tell you exactly what is my strategy. You would be surprised. Also try to find out like industry connections, maybe exclusive contracts, where the key people worked before. Maybe they are so deeply rooted in the given sector's ecosystem in that country that you want to have a chance. So instead of like wasting your time and money to compete against them, you just should focus on something else. Because, according to Sun Tzu, who wrote it was not one person who wrote The Art of War, but they give the credit to Sun Tzu. He said a good general actually wins the battles because he knows exactly in which battles he or she shouldn't engage. So again, competitive analysis, very important. Check also funding, financials. If they got recently a big round from a local investor, maybe you will have even less chance because everything that you are willing to develop, they can just do it in a matter of hours because now they have money. So important, competitive analysis within your market research. Okay, so what makes a good market research? Short, relevant, easy to understand. So it's not too detailed, not 72 pages, preferably done by your team or you, realistic and critical. So it shouldn't be too generic, telling irrelevant information, or shouldn't be unrealistic, too favorable. You try to convince yourself, I need to go to the USA because, do you really need to go to the USA? Do you have chance against your competitors? Maybe yes, maybe no, but you shouldn't really convince yourself because that's a very big mistake. Evidence-based and updated on a regular basis. So if you've done your competitive analysis now, and you're still in the process of market selection or international expansion, so on, make sure you update it, and it shouldn't be rough and ready. Update using credible sources. And last but not least, focus group or target group discussions, because focus group might imply that this is something that you should pay for, but actually try to speak with your customers and also your competitors. If you meet at a conference, start to reach out, make friends, and have a chat and ask what they think about your product and why they use the other alternative. Things like that. All right. Before we move on, let me just finish with the SWOT because it's important and we can discuss a few questions. So yeah, so it's all about you, as I mentioned. So SWOT analysis actually is a very good tool to help you to summarize the findings of the market research. So again, here I'm using tools like I mentioned, Porter's 5 forces and past analysis and now SWOT. Usually you do not use it in this way. You just have the SWOT, and because the investor asked for it, or I don't know, but try to be creative. This is a very great tool to summarize information here, and try to use it in line with your market research and your internationalization process. So when it's a SWOT for that, you should focus on the questions that you discussed in your market research. And you did it because you did the internal analysis already and the external analysis here. And these are the parts of the SWOT. So yeah, internal, external here at the OT, and internal is SW. Okay, so what if you have a SWOT? So what can you do about it? So let's say you selected the target country and you done the SWOT analysis. So which is even more useful, and usually people do not really know. I mean, some of you might know it, but I'm very sure that not everybody. It's a TOWS metric. So here, it's the decision-making tool. So combining, opportunities and strengths, weaknesses, threats, and help you to build a strategy. So here, like, let's say on the SWOT metrics, you realize that you have excellent technical skills and opportunities like the growth in mobile first. So what the strategy should be, or what's the decision that you should make? Position the company marketing as experts in mobile first. Yeah, don't worry if you don't understand that as yet. I put videos here, so the slides are constructed in a way like you should really do your homework and watch these videos. But yeah, it's a very great tool. All right, so now any questions before we move on?
I want to add some, not questions, but share our experience. Sometimes we don't know really how, for example, we think that when we introduce our project in worldwide exhibition, we get a new contract, we sign a contract and get a new customer. So when the customers, potential customers come, they tell, wow, you really do it in Ukraine. Wow, super. We want it. We are ready to start, and we stay and oh yeah, we do it. But after exhibition, when we start to speak with them, nobody has seen a contract. Everyone tell, you start production in Poland when you have a customers in the European country. After that, we can start cooperate together. After that, I have a conversation with my colleague in our market who works with customers in the United States, and they tell, really in the United States it's very hard market, and you need 2 or 3 exhibitions after which they can sign a contract with you, because they don't want to cooperate with company who are not ready to go this market and who can appearance about 1 year, for example. They want to invest in company who are really good in this market, and is a good for us. We know that it's not as we expected, really. And I think that I recommend everyone find a startup or company in their sphere who are really work in this market where you want to go, and ask them to share their experience, to work in this market, because it can help to solve some problem and to prepare in good for going for enter of this market.
Exactly. So peer-to-peer engagements and asking. Yeah, I mean, I didn't mention it yet, but that's a very valid point. But here, exactly what you described, that's a very common thing. So it requires local presence, and you need to build good relationship continuously. And sometimes, building this trusted relationship with partners is like really long and costly. So how they see us, I mean, once
very long, really very long.
2-3 times longer. You see, it's here already. So I'm not just giving you, it's validation for me, but that's true actually. So how they see us, I mean, I'm also a British citizen, not by, in a conventional way, but I just spent enough time in the UK so I could get it. So how they see us, say for instance, in the UK, so coming from Eastern Europe, more or less, is like, try to picture yourself like someone would approach you who speaks a completely different language from a country like, I don't know, Uzbekistan, say for instance. So it's like, I did just a program for Uzbekistan, the Uzbek government, and it was really interesting. So this is, and what would you say? Like, hi, I have a great product, can you buy it? And are you interested? So they don't even know you. They don't even know the culture. So it's for them, what would you like to see? Yeah, it sounds good, but did you sell it anyone else in Poland or Ukraine or anyone in Europe at least? And then that gives the validation. The same way how it would give you a validation in terms of the technology coming thousands of kilometers away. That's how the US investor, or not just investor, a partner, or a UK partner, sees any businesses outside their country.
Completely agree.
Yeah. Okay. I need to carry on because we only have 18 minutes. I'm afraid that, but yeah, that's a very valid thing. Okay. So on the question here. So have you spent 3-4 weeks or more in a foreign country, or maybe a long holiday? Even 2 weeks is okay.
Of course.
Of course.
Yes. 3
Yeah.
years, please.
3 years. Yeah, 10 years in the United Kingdom. What can I say? Anyway, so yeah, so we all know, like, even if you are just on a short annual vacation or whatever, you go there and so you don't know anything. Like, of course, you checked, okay, well, this is the restaurant that looks good. Google reviews, it was, you know, they achieved quite decent rating. I don't know, maybe the local pub looks decent and so on and so forth. But it's very good if you meet with somebody like, hi, I'm here since last week and I know the restaurant, so you can go there. You should avoid from that pub, or this part of the city is not really safe. So you knew exactly. Like, I was in San Francisco once and I didn't know anything, so I booked my accommodation in Tenderloin, which is the worst neighborhood ever. Like, seriously. And I didn't know, but it was like so close to the location, and I didn't know anything about San Francisco. So I thought everything gonna be smooth, but actually I had to take a cab every single day to bring me to the meeting point, which was like 200 meters away, because I was so scared to walk there. But it was that weird. And I didn't know exactly like what is going to happen, you know, where should I go? Where should I book my accommodation? It's the same thing in business, yeah? So if you decide, okay, let's say you have the target country already. So, you know, it's the UK or the United States. So is it much better if you have somebody, even a fellow startup or fellow business, or some other people who can help you to decide, you know, and help you to give you advice on the strategic directions of the company. Exactly the same thing. So exactly what you just said, Alexandra. This is where this presentation is going. So it's nicely done. Thank you for the comments. So how do others manage? They do not do it alone. So even like top Silicon Valley VPs, like 40% of them have external business advisors. And the same goes for internationalization as well. When you decided to go international, it is vital to consult with the subject matter expert in many cases. Here I just listed a few. So consultants, sector specific, accelerators, incubators can help you a lot. Accountants, of course, you know, it's like opening a company, VAT, whatever. Lawyers, very important. A good lawyer is a representation of you. So helping even, you know, the quality of your contract, you know, how they see, how the customers see it, and if you have any legal questions and so on. Marketing and communication experts, because you might need to use a different marketing strategy. Lead generation and business development, here, you know, you can have some experts who have connections to the local ecosystem. Distributors, you know, could be a good way. However, I'm always skeptical with distributors. Research partners, I think someone mentioned, Noemi, it was you, I guess. So for you, I think research partners would be really crucial as well. I'm not too sure if we still have Noemi with us, but yeah, so if you're coming from a research heavy environment or science heavy, research partners could help you a lot. Mentors, associations, and your government, very important. Usually people think that, you know, the embassies are a kind of like mystical institutions, and you shouldn't approach them. It's not true. I did a few trainings to the trade commissioners and the science and cultural attaches of the Hungarian embassies around the world. And basically, you shouldn't forget one thing. Embassies, trade commissioners or trade attaches, and the knowledge transfer office, what is it called? Science and technology attaches and so on. These guys are receiving their salary from the taxpayers' money. So you're paying them to do their job. Therefore, what is their job? Their job is to help your home country's companies to thrive in a foreign environment, or bringing companies to your home country. So feel free to approach them, and not only the embassies, but also export agencies. Europe-wide organizations, Enterprise Europe Network, so on and so forth, because there are a lot of help there, and these are usually working. I mean, as you pay them from your own taxes, you don't need to pay anything extra because these are usually free programs. So again, export promotion agencies, international startup agencies, embassies, so on. Reach out to them. This should be the first point of contact because they might help you to find the others as well. All right, so 2 common misconceptions. We covered that already, but I just wanted to highlight. So I'm gonna hire a local salesperson and use Google Ads. Forget it, it will not work. So don't even try. I just really want to highlight this because this is what I get like a lot of times. I don't need to worry about it yet. I think this is true when we finish development, and of course it refers to internationalization. You should focus on your international initiatives or plans from the very beginning of your startup journey. If you know that your home country is not going to be your target country. All right. So the question here: when is the right time to expand internationally? And here I have a few things. So set up your business in your country and grow it to the desired level first, and then you go international. Is it true or not? We don't know. Experiment with different markets using the strengths of internet. Could be true for your business? Maybe yes, maybe no. Or when 25% plus of your business income is coming from international markets, then it's time to scale. Is it true for your business? Maybe yes, maybe no, maybe all three. I don't know. Now the thing is, you're gonna find a lot of methodologies, a lot of school of thoughts here, but according to my experience, there's no good for all blueprint that is applicable by everybody. So you really need to decide based on your circumstances, when is the right time for you to expand. And also some other different approaches like reactive. So say for instance, you have a lead from Mexico, or in my case with iScale Hub and World Summit, sometimes we are also reactive. We just have a lead from, I don't know, South Korea. If it's feasible, we do it. Yeah. Or proximity driven, if you're focusing on your local market because of you have the connections already with the surrounding countries, could be. However, for me, these are very opportunistic. It doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It cannot work, but you need to decide. What I am actually advising to everybody is to follow a data-driven approach, especially because you are a startup and there's a lot to lose and you don't really have a lot of resources as yet. So try to gather the data, plan your expansion strategy, and then you can be sure that the planning will bring you a lot of rewards, because someone said something in the chat. Okay, end of the lecture. I tried to finish in 10 minutes, but I might need another 5. I hope it's not a problem. But let's see. Yeah, but it's a good point, Alana. Okay, so yeah, data-driven approach is the best, which means you're gathering the information the way how we discussed, and I'm gonna show you some more techniques. And then based on the data that you have, you're gonna decide whether you should focus on all markets, even if you have a lead from, I don't know, Taiwan or South Korea or whatever, or you should focus on the target countries where you actually have a chance. All right, so where to expand international? So what is your target market and why? I asked this question already, and a few of you mentioned USA, and I think the reason why, because here the customer base is much bigger. But if we just check only the customer base, only the number of people who can buy, or companies who can buy your product, maybe you should go to China, which is even bigger, or India. But is it the right market for you? No, really, I don't think so, because these markets are extremely difficult, and for many reasons, I don't want to get into details. But the key message here is that you shouldn't just focus on one metrics when it comes to internationalization. Especially, it's usually a common thing with very early stage startups. They just put USA, everyone, like 9 out of 10, USA, or Germany. However, maybe, and when I asked why, they just said, oh, the people with disposable income, it's like the number of potential customers is higher and so on and so forth. But it's just one metrics. Yeah, you should focus on different attributes. And here we are, Pesta. So this can be a part of your market research, but I just really wanted to bring it here. So that's a good framework. So political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and legal. So again, this is the macro environment, so you cannot really influence that, but it can give you a good intel when it comes to market selection. And the good thing, I have a video here, and the good thing is like you can actually find the data in a quantified manner in almost every case. So even like corruption index, they have a number, so you can do a kind of weighted average evaluation on that. But if we want to move forward, because Pesta is a very basic tool and focusing on macro environment, and I don't think that is going to give you the full picture, let's discover something called the cage analysis. So we often say like size does matter, and in this case it's true as well. However, we need to know what to measure. So the cage framework actually is focusing on cultural distance, administrative distance, geographic distance, and economic distance. And if we have a big difference, or like a huge distance between our home market and the target markets, we should examine, because maybe that's not a negative thing, but actually that can be positive, because maybe I'm from Hungary, and if I'm comparing the people with disposable income in the UK and the US, maybe the large difference actually signals to me that there is a good thing, because I have more potential, more customers with higher income potentially. And but yeah, the general rule here is like the smaller distance is the better. But as I said, don't be afraid if it's something gives you a large distance, because it could be a good thing. Here again, there's a YouTube video, but let's just examine a few. Examples. So cultural difference can refer to language, religion, traditions, negotiation techniques, history, so on and so forth. So why is that so important? Because if the cultural distance is small between two countries, it means that the needs of the customer group is going to be very similar. Yeah. So I know, like when I go to Poland or any countries here in the region, even I was in Moldova 2 weeks ago, and Croatia, it's tomorrow. I know that there will be very similar people, you know, like us here in Hungary, say, because we share not the same language though, because that's a big, that's a bad thing about Hungary. We are speaking a very difficult language, and no one else speaks. However, you know, everyone else in the region can understand at least more or less each other, except us. We are the odd ones. But yeah, apart from this, religion, usually very similar, you know, traditions, very similar. We share history together, so I know what to expect. And why is this important? So say, for instance, if you are in the food production industry and you're trying to sell, I don't know, pork-based product, and you try to do it in Israel or in a Muslim country, you can't do it, because that's against the religion. So you need to know stuff like that. Negotiation techniques. In Asia, they are very collectivist. They make the decisions together. If you go and speak with, I don't know, a Singaporean company, they usually bring the whole board, and you're going to speak with the whole management. So this is how they make decisions. While in the US or the UK, they're more relaxed. All right, so that's cultural distance. Administrative environment, we more or less covered that already. So everything like business-friendly environment. The UK is very good in that, say, for instance, how to open a bank account, you know, headquarters, do I need to bring it there? Accounting system, is it similar, or is it going to be very different from my one? So it's going to give me a lot of headaches. Legal environment, contract law, customs law, Brexit, China, now this very political structure, important, very, very important. Someone in the chats. See you soon. So group photo. Can you stay for the group photo so we can do it now? Or I'm just wondering. because I have like, I don't know.
I think he already left.
All right. Anyway, I think I'm gonna be able to finish on time, but I might need 3 minutes or something. Okay, so political structure, we discussed that. Geographic distance, clear cuts. So how far are you from your target market? You know, do you need to provide maintenance, support, equipment to install your stuff, or if there is something like complex 5G, whatever system, and you need to deliver the parts there, plus the personnel who maintains it. Again, you need to calculate with that. Cost of the local presence we discussed, so on and so forth. Economic environment, clear-cut, purchasing power, availability of human resources. Like Ukraine, post-Soviet countries, you know, we have a very good scientists here in the region, and I think that's something that a lot of that a lot of companies can use it as an advantage in the startup world as well. Training possibilities, price, you know, all of other things, economic environment. So think of everything. Here I just giving examples, but you can also think of a lot of other things as well. Get the recording. Okay, sure. Maybe I'll send it to everybody. All right. And how, so what happens if we selected the countries, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, so you narrowed it down based on your market research. So you do you can do this analysis here. I really like this tool because it's extremely visual and basically compares the target markets on the market attractiveness and the competitive strengths. So, and the result is going to be a graph like this. Yeah, here's a video for that, by the way, but how we do it. So you set, there are some examples of market attractiveness, so some attributes related to that. So economic and political stability, distance, cultural distance, trends. We already discovered a few, and you score them. You do this, I mean, you score one country, you score the other country, and you do the same for competitive strength. And here, voila, you can place the selected countries on this graph, and based on the results, you should find out which country is the best for you. And last but not least, do you have any questions so far? Sorry if I'm rushing through. I just want to make sure that, I mean, it's not really heavy topics here to discuss. I left it to the end. But do you have any questions? Okay, so here are more of the practical tools. So I just introduced how to use, and you will be able to use it by yourself, because they're not, you know, the very difficult ones. And so last but not least, the international sales, the minimums. And here that's an important stuff. So please, even if you don't have like more than 3 minutes, just stay, and because it's very important. So what I often see, these things are missing from the companies who are either coming to our festivals or telling me that they want to go international. Authentic value proposition and materials done by professionals, especially if you're going to a Western country or even in the region. It's very important because these people see you for the first time, you're coming from a different country, maybe you're not speaking the same language, and the materials actually represent you. And the value proposition should be really authentic. Necessary support and business knowledge. They might have questions, and if you cannot really answer that, it instantly signals that you know anything about the market. Therefore, how on earth you will be able to deliver the service or product that you promised to their country if you don't know the basic things. Be compliant with the legal requirements, GDPR, customs, anything related to it. Very important, because usually companies fail on that, and the result is like a huge penalty. And make sure that you are capable of fulfilling orders. So do not start your internationalization process without actually being able to deliver if someone orders something from you, because then, especially if it's a small country or a small industry, people talk, the brand reputation or damage is going to be huge. A few pro tips: automated systems for lead generation. My colleague Tamas will talk about it on the sales prospecting workshop. Existing partners, use your existing partners and ask them to make some introductions, or even your existing clients could be your sales force, very important. And reach out to the government try to apply for government programs because they are there to help you and you don't need to pay a penny. So that's very important. And last but not least, try to expand gradually. So you don't need to rush the process. You know, do a gradual exposure because that's safer for everybody. And that was it. Thanks for staying 2 minutes after the proposed agenda, but I really wanted to hear your comments and discussions and everything. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you are ready to skyrocket your startup. So that was it. Any questions? No questions. It's like Tuesday afternoon for everybody, I guess. So a group photo, Elena, or what's next?
Yes, can you please switch on demonstration of screen? Yes, switch it off. And so now we have big faces. So guys, please switch on and smile. It's our first touch, our first connection.
Let me wear my boss and jumper in a proper way.
I will do several, just wait, keep smiling. Make sure you watch to the screen. We will post them on Wolf Summit or on our IC Corporate Accelerator LinkedIn so you can see yourself. So I've done 3 already.
Brilliant.
Beautiful. It's nice to see all your faces. Really. Thank you, Gergo. It was an inspiring speech. So going international is a big thing. Not that easy, right? That's why everyone goes to States just to make it more simple.
Yeah,
So,
and by
guys,
the way, sorry, just 1 second. As I see we have Olga here still. So I just wanted to introduce Olga because I forgot to introduce her at the beginning. However, I mentioned her. So Olga, we probably are in touch. So Olga is managing the program. And yeah, basically she's the main point of contact, and I felt important to introduce her as well.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks. Yes, Olga does really a lot of work to structure all the program.
Exactly.
So see you guys on Thursday 3 p.m. Central Eastern European time, the same setup. And you will see our next guest speaker, Marina Marinkevich. She's in the United States in Miami for the last 2 years. And she runs Startup Network. It's one of the biggest internet events for startups. And she will tell you more about it, but our topic is on messaging, communication, or I think it's on competitive advantage next Thursday. So we are excited to see you all. She's very engaging and interactive speaker, so I think it will be fine.
Brilliant.
Okay,
Right.
if that's it, then thank you for your attention. It was really great to see you and to meet you all, but even more great it will be when we see each other live in Wrocław.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Great pleasure. Goodbye.
Yes, bye.
Bye.